to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Before I give the invocation, I wanted to read a little short article that I wrote about the new year that we're going into. As all of us are well aware, we live in a troubled world with a lot of situations that we wonder what our future is going to bring. And when you look back in history, this isn't the first time this has happened. So I'm using a little article that was published in the paper, but this is called The Gate of the Year. And I actually got up early New Year's Eve morning, and this came to mind, and I thought I would put it down. It said, "My mind is being held captive by the title of this famous poem written by Minnie Louise Haskins, who lived from 1875 to 1957. And the poem was titled The Gate of the Year. The poem was first shared with me by a dear friend and co-Sunday school teacher some years ago. And since we are all standing at the gate of a new year of 2022, no one can predict what the future has in store for us. And I thought this poem might give us some kind of hope for the new year. The poem, The Gate of the Year, had a popular name entitled God Knows, and it was written in 1908 and published in 1912 as part of a collection entitled The Desert. And it became famous when spoken by King George VI in his 1939 Christmas broadcast to the British Empire. If you remember, in December 1939, Great Britain was gripped in fear as Hitler was spreading terror across all of Europe, and Great Britain had just entered into the Second World War. No one knew what the future would bring, and with every air raid siren, their fears intensified. In that moment, the people of Great Britain looked to their king for some words of hope and comfort. It is said that the poem was brought to the attention of King George VI by Princess Elizabeth, who was only 13 years old at the time. On this New Year's Eve, I am in hope that this poem will also serve to bring hope and comfort to our troubled world. The Gate of the Year, God Knows, by Minnie Louise Haskins. And I said to the man who stood at the gate of the year, "Give me a light that I may tread safely into the unknown." And he replied, "Go out into the darkness and put your hand into the hand of God. That shall be to you better than light and safer than a known way." So I went forth, and finding the hand of God, trod gladly into the night. And he led me towards the hills and the breaking of day in the lone east. So heart, be still. What need our little life, our human life, to know if God hath comprehension? In all the dizzy strife of things both high and low, God hideth his intentions. God knows his will is best. The stretch of years which wind ahead, so dim to our imperfect vision, are clear to God. Our fears are premature in him, because all time hath full provision. Then rest until God moves to lift the veil from our impatient eyes, when as the sweeter features of life's stern face we hail, fair beyond all surmise, God's thoughts around his creatures our mind shall fill. In closing, I want to say that even today, in all the dizzy strife of things both high and low, God still hideth his intentions. but he still knows what is happening. As a world, as a nation, as a people, our only hope is to go out into the darkness of 2022, put our hand into the hand of God, and trod gladly, that we may also be to us better than light and safer than a known way. Please join me as I pray. Father, as we enter this new year, we pray for this commissioners. We pray for this commissioner's court. We pray that all of us will put our hand in your hand, trust your will, trust your way, follow your wisdom, and that you'll take us to a moment of hope and safety and bring our country together. For it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Good morning. Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney. Commissioner Casterline.
Commissioner Cheney's here. He just hasn't unmuted him. He's here, but he's,
I'm here.
Okay. Commissioner Russo. Here. Commissioner Law. Here. Judge Mills.
here. We have a quorum, citizens to be heard. I noticed on some of these forums, they're talking about a specific item. Would you like to speak now or do you want to wait until the agenda item comes up? Just, yeah, okay. Anybody else? You'll speak now? Come on up, sir, and then Mr. Hines, you'll be. Come on up. You want to speak now? Oh, with him? Okay, go ahead. Mr. Hines, come on up.
I'm Fulton Beach Road. We have a toxic waste dump. Almost 30 years into Aransas County and dumped into open air pits next to Port Bay. San Patricio got 71. There we go. San Patricio got 71 million economic benefit. We got the toxic waste. Point Comfort, Port Lavaca became one of the largest Superfund sites in history due to this same waste compound from alumina production. Sherwin Alumina filed bankruptcy in 2016. TCEQ bluntly stated in court documents that they were attempting to step away from their environmental liability. In legal proceedings, Sherwin themselves admitted that there's a massive environmental liability attached to this waste dump. The court documents estimate that the environmental cleanup on pond number 1 alone would be at least $1 million. There was a possibility of getting money from their parent, Lincor, but no one from this county took a seat at the table in the bankruptcy negotiations. The facts of this toxic waste existence are well documented fact, so no prevarication or misdirection is possible. The bankruptcy took place in 2016, well before Hurricane Harvey, so no excuses are available. I provided this community with satellite photos showing blood red contaminated bayous that were flushed out by Hurricane Harvey, and there's no place the contaminants could have gone but straight into Port Bay. I'm here today not to request, but to demand that this court make a public commitment to an investigation and to formulating a plan of action for remediation. And to demand that the county judge make a public declaration this week that if reelected, he will commit to making cleanup and fiscal accountability for the responsible parties his top priority until the problem is solved. There should be automatic acceptance to this demand from each member, every one on the court. There's no legitimate reason to resist. I fully expect one or more of you to tell the local people there's nothing we can do. The fact is, you wield a great deal of power and influence, and state agencies listen to you when it comes to issues like hurricanes and toxic waste dumps. If you decline to get involved, the people of this county will ask why. Soon enough, reporters and environmental groups will be here asking why. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
David, do you want to just wait till it comes up? You can talk about it when the.
Or you can talk now and
Either way.
all right. Ms. Albrecht, do you want to speak now or? Mr. Lott? Tim Lott? You want to wait?
It's up to you. You can talk now or later.
No, I mean, the only reason I did that is I need to be, that's why I did. I don't know that I need-
I see.
Okay, Mr. Lee? Oh, okay. Murphy? Okay, all right then. We have a presentation from 4-H Youth, inviting the judges and commissioners to a great occasion. Come on up.
We have our 4-Hers today to invite you to the San Patricia and Aransas County A&H show. They're each going to talk about what they do at the A&H show, what days you can see them.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Faith. I will be showing twice this year. I will be showing on the 25th. I show turkeys, and I'll also be helping in the special show. That is, the special show starts at 8 a.m. in the morning, and turkeys is around 12 if the special show finishes in time. And I'll also be showing on the 27th with goats. That will be 10 a.m. And we also have through Thursday to Saturday, we have our homemaking building, which is where all the 4-Hers, we make stuff and we show it. And this year I sewed a pillowcase and I made a birdhouse and other things. And we can win belt buckles by doing that. We can also win belt buckles by doing other things. And it's just fun and we hope y'all come out. I also have a invitation letter for Judge Mills.
Okay,
Can I give it to you?
yes, please. Thank you.
My name is Sienna Goad. I will be showing on Tuesday, the 25th. I am showing a turkey hen and a turkey tom. And I'm not doing homemaking. Last year, I got grand champion turkey with my hen. Yeah. Whoa.
Hi, my name's Leighton Harlows, and I show pigs. I have a Duroc, a Berkshire, and a Spot, and my show will be Wednesday, January 6th and 26th. And last year with my Berkshire, I got reserve breed champion.
Wow. Right.
Oh, and my pigs named this year, my Duroc is Cherry Bomb, my Berk is Joan Jett, and my Spot is Rock.
Okay.
Thank you. We look forward to a good show and hoping y'all can be there.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for the invitation. I just want to extend that invitation to anybody and everybody. It's quite a show and the kids do a great job of showing their achievements of the year. So I invite all of you and friends everywhere to go because it's worth it. Okay, thank you.
Ginger, do you know, has somebody coordinated with environmental health about taking the roll-offs over there that they usually do?
I think so.
Okay, might check on that.
All right. We have several items on the consent agenda. Have a motion.
I move to approve the consent items while noting the generous donations from the public, $50 from Ronnie and Pat Barker for the Aransas County Library, $1,500 from Les and Mary Puckett Children's Foundation for the Aransas County Library, $25 from William and Norma Broadhurst for Aransas County Animal Control, and $500 from the South Rockport Neighbors for the Aransas County Sheriff's Department, and $539.44 from the law enforcement partners on calendar sales that goes to the sheriff's office.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call.
Commissioner Kane,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Mr. Lovett,
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye, unanimous.
I missed one thing.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
Also, that we are nominating Deborah Strothman to replace Deborah Kapora as a voting member of Aransas Pathway Steering Committee. And I know Deborah Strothman has been working with them and knows a lot about birds.
Yeah, I'm Dean McClellan, co-chair of the Pathways Project. Our other co-chair is sitting there behind Mr. Brundrett. And we're proposing Deborah Strothman, who, for the record, happens to be John Strothman's much better half. She is a master naturalist, a avid birder, and will be well qualified to be a voting member of the committee and also to chair the Birding and Nature Committee. She will be replacing Deborah Kapora, and I'd be remiss if I didn't make a couple of comments here. Many of you know Deborah Kapora very well. She is, I think it's safe to say, a world-renowned birder. She has been a part of Pathways since before it was Pathways. She was a prime mover in getting that project started and making it a success. Unfortunately, she is facing some personal problems, and she requested that we replace her as a voting member since she can't be here. So I would appreciate the court approving this.
Okay, thank you. Thank Ms. Kapoor for all she's done for the community. All right, item number 13. Do I have a motion? Make a motion to approve order number 02/2022 regarding the petition of Truly Hutchinson to close, abandon, and vacate the platted 60-foot wide portion of Ash Street lying between lots 16 and 92, Block 93, Lamar Town Site, Aransas County, Texas, recorded in Volume 2, page 36 of the plat records of Aransas County, Texas, and being more particularly described by meets and bounds on Exhibit A and B attached to the petition.
I'll second this one.
Motion made and seconded by Commissioner Lawbauer.
But I'm aware of controversy over this one and item number 14. So I'm hoping today will be discussion that might clarify things somewhat. Over the holidays, I've been trying to sort it out more, and I think we're going to need more time.
Okay.
And I had a question also, and maybe if there's discussion, that'll answer my question, but I just wondered what becomes of that vacated lot? Who gets the ownership?
The adjoining, the landowners that abut the right of way are asking that we abandon it in favor of them, so it will just join their property.
So it would be split between the two.
Yes.
I think that's right.
I think she's one.
Kat, are you on?
Yes, sir. And I would like to discuss both this item and item 14, but I would request that we table any action on them until later so that we can make sure that all concerns have been addressed. But both of these requests are from property owners with structures that are at risk from scouring the shoreline on that area of West Lamar, especially since the walking bridge was taken down over Copano Bay, has been exponentially increasing. The property owners would like to be able to get permits to have the bulkhead strengthened to protect the structures. In order to get a permit to do that bulkhead reinforcement, they have to be the owner of the property. The issue at hand, though, is the Texas Open Beaches Act and whether or not the closing of this easement would qualify as a violation to the public access rights of Texans to the beaches. This is an area that doesn't fit the definition of a public beach as I understand it, but that's where I want to make sure that we are 100% clear on the legal concerns before proceeding.
Okay, I now rescind my previous motion.
I moved to table.
Why don't we just leave the motion in place and then table? We don't have to actually rescind the motion. We just need to table it for the next meeting.
All right.
If we had people that are here to discuss it, do we want to hear from them?
If they want to, yes.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I seconded. I'll also second the table, but can we discuss it first and then table? I don't want to move for any action today, but I would like to hear from the people who came.
Okay, let's listen to the people here who want to talk about it, and then we'll table it. Okay, which one, who would like to speak first?
Well, I know Mary Thornhill is one of the petitioners, and is the other petitioner also here? Okay, so we have both petitioners here, and we have at least one person here who objects, I guess, on open beach grounds. Or
If you'd like to speak, please step up.
Mary, you want to address this? I mean, if you feel like Kat's already said what, just let us know anything more you need to know.
So I'm Mary Thornhill, and I have the property at 602 West Main. And I bought the property in 2008. And what I was showing Kat and I was showing Commissioner Laubach is that that property has had a substantial amount of riprap in front of it during that time. It has eroded back. And what happened, they had to put the riprap to stop it from sucking out from underneath there. And so since 2008, I have added significantly to that riprap, and I still have the sucking out of dirt and have a problem. And my property is right next to the right of way. And so it threatens my house as well. And so I've done just about everything that I think I can do to prevent that erosion. And so now that's not working. I need to put a bulkhead up in front of the property. And that's what I'm asking to be able to do. But I have to be able to own the property to do that.
Okay, thank you. Come on up.
Good morning. My name is Tricia Hutchings, and my home is at 416 West Main. My story is very similar to Mary's in that with Hurricane Harvey and then taking down the old bridge as well as the fishing pier, we've lost all of the seagrass and erosion. I've replaced most of this with 30 truckloads of dirt to try to restore the land to where I could hold it without being eroded, but I need to own the land in order to extend the bulkhead. And right now, the road to my house is the only thing that's on this property. That and some olive trees I planted. So there's no one that comes on the road except me. So that's the reason for my petition.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Pat Murphy. My address is 611 West First Street, 601 West First Street, 418 West First Street, 710 West First Street. I border both these roads that propose to be closed. I have properties that actually these roads are my ingress and egress to the water. I understand what these ladies are faced with because I too have a lot of waterfront property there in the old Lamar town site that is being ridden by the water and by the, well, you know. I agree with everything they're saying, and I have come up with a solution that will hopefully help these ladies accomplish what they want to accomplish and me not lose in this same process. I have hired attorneys. I am being helped out, counseled by the gentleman. Commissioner Laubach has talked to one of them, I guess, a few days ago. Basically, what I'm asking for is just a little time. Due to the COVID and holidays and everything, the attorneys keep pushing me to a better attorney. So now that I've got to the attorney that I really need to help me with, I have a meeting with him this week, and I would like a little more time here with the court, if I may, so I can offer what I feel is an answer to all this that benefits the county, benefits petitioners, and benefits my family as well.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the commissioners? All right, anyone else want to speak on this? If not,
I'll move the table. If
motion
nobody
made.
has already.
Motion made to table.
Second.
Second. Commissioner Lawba? 13 and 14.
13 and 14. We didn't actually have a motion on 14. Do we need one, or is the table enough, Jen? We don't have to move first and then table, do we? Or
No, the table motion is fine.
Okay.
All right, item 15.
Roll call.
Oh, roll call. Sorry.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Castro,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lawler,
Aye.
Judge Miller.
Aye, unanimous. Item 15. Do I have a motion?
To their discussion items, which is 15.
It's just a discussion.
Oh, it's
item,
discussion.
right? Yeah, this is
I
a
didn't-
preliminary review and
Of the 60-foot wide road right away on Refugio Taft Road, beginning at the intersection of Refugio Taft Road and Pocket Farm Road, and ending approximately 2,600 feet southwest. Kate,
Do we need,
Colin, do you have a
we need a motion to discuss?
that
No, it's just discussion.
that Kat gave you? But she was going to send you some stuff to put up on the screen.
It's part of it's the PDF that was accompanying the agenda item. There should be within your packet, and I apologize.
It is in the
it's not
packet.
available through the screen, to show where this location is. It would be it's a platted but an unimproved, unadopted right-of-way. And so it would be, it is used by private property owners, but it would allow the private property owners to settle the disputes about boundary lines between themselves.
Yeah, Kat, we have that in our packet, but I was seeing if Colin had something he could put up on the screen where everybody else could see it.
It's in the packet, so he can put it up. But in the meantime, Kat, you're saying, although private property owners have been used to use it to drive on, they're discussing something among themselves that would resolve all those right-of-way, those access issues, and that the public has not been using it?
Correct.
Right, it's never been, okay, we have an unopened right of way, and if he can find it to pull it up, he's got some pictures of it. But the adjoining property owners are Mr. Lee and Miss Albrecht, and on Miss Albrecht's side of the property, her fence is out in the right of way. Mr. Lee recently bought his piece of property and hadn't put a fence, and we kind of have, the way I see it, we have two options, because if Mr. Lee puts his fence where his property line on the edge of the right of way would be, Miss Albrecht's fence kind of runs on an angle, and before it hits the back, it kind of creates a funnel, and you probably would run out of road before you get back there. So to me, we have two options. Either Miss Albrecht could move her fence to the edge of the right of way, or we could abandon the right of way. I think that's kind of where we're at right now. I mean, they might have.
I'm curious, what would be the advantage to the county of doing this?
The county, I think David can speak to this. The county doesn't have any intention of opening the right of way.
But it sounds like the fence that's in existence right now is in the middle of the right of way.
Not necessarily the middle. It's on one side, but it kind of runs on an angle across as it goes back to 2,600 feet. And like I say, I think it wouldn't be an issue of leaving it open, other than that we are never going to do anything with it if the fence was where it should be on the Albrecht side.
So in other words, the fence is on,
It's in the right.
it's not where it should be.
Yeah, it's in the right of way. And
Sounds like
Kat,
an easy
I
fix.
Kat, I have a question along that line. How's the Texas Beach? Is this part of the Texas Open Beaches Act?
that's a different agenda item, Jack.
Oh,
This
okay.
one's way out on the,
Oh,
in the
there we
middle.
go. There we go. Okay, I'm with you.
Can you shrink that a little? Okay, wait a minute. No, all right.
Oh, so it's that way up on the top left, the little red
Yeah,
square?
where the red square is the main road, and the road that's coming down is the road we're talking about abandoning or
So the crossroad is a paper road, not an actual used
Now,
public
the
road?
crossroad, which is Pocket Farm Road, the one that goes across the page at the top, both properties front on that road and have access from that road. When you're coming straight down from that red square, that's the section that's unopened. Comes, I guess, about 2,600 feet. And you can kind of see in that right of way, I believe that dotted line is where the fence is. So it's not
I see.
necessarily in the middle, but by the
Encroaches
gate,
a
it
little bit.
starts farther over, but it kind of runs across the right of way, where on the south end, it's closer to the other side. So
I guess what I was asking is the road that goes left to right is actually used by cars, but the road that
Right.
goes up and down is platted and it's a paper road, but it's not an actual used road. Nobody in the public uses
right,
it.
there's a gate a locked gate that's on there, and just the two adjoining property owners. And there's actually I think the road that's there was actually built by an oil company, and I don't know if that the well is even still functionable. Sometimes in the past, it's
And that was not built by, an oil company, that was built when
If you're going to speak, can you please step to the microphone so the people at home can hear you?
It's all right. We can hear you, but on Zoom they can't. If you would just step to the podium. Go ahead and step to the podium. We just want to hear, people at home want to hear you too. Oh, sorry to make you. I don't suppose we could hand her a mic. We could hand you the mic instead. Okay, well, we made you go all the way already.
First of all, that road was not built. That road was not built by an oil company. That was originally platted in the plats from as early as I can find. It's 1925. It was a road there. It's called Taft Refugio Road. It was from get to Refugio to Taft. It went all the way through, as far as I know, kind of towards Gregory. There was a road there. And I have been on the place, not living on that actual piece, but that was part of our family's land. And so we have traveled that road, quite often. And another thing, I have surveys from 1989, and then another one from 2010. And the survey that I have is completely different from the one that was done recently, December 2020, I think it was. And later on, June 15th, but there are 8, as far as I know, on this recent survey. And as you're saying that my fence goes catty corner across the road, on my survey, it doesn't. I had it it was surveyed in 89, was a, whatever map or whatever. And then in 2010, I think it was, I had it re-surveyed to show where the middle of the road was, the Pocket Farm Road, the 305 Taft Road, where the middle of that road was, so I could put a fence up. And at the time, my sister owned the other property that Mr. Lee owns now. And so rather than obstruct anybody, them or me, or if somebody she sold it to, from being able to use, the property or whatever, I put it 6 feet off of the middle of the road that you're talking about, that my fence goes across. I had it surveyed again in 2010, and I put my fence 6 feet off of the middle of the road. So it actually does not inhibit anybody from driving down the road. And actually, it helps keep the ditches clean, because that area is, as the recent purchaser said, it's a swampland, and it definitely is. And if you abandon that road, then I have no way to get into my property unless I build another road. And it's a half a mile road, and it's like real low ground. And so you'd have to have like 4 or 5 feet, high to get it to where it wouldn't go underwater. And
I have a well right there by that road, and I have San Patricio electric pole and electric meter right there. And I also have city water right there on that side of that road too, on my property, but the side of that road. So abandoning that road will cause me all kinds of problems that I don't see a reason for closing it. I have no problem with anybody traveling it that wants to travel it, or whatever. But I request that you don't close that road. But I would like for the survey map to be looked at or whatever, because it is, I know 2 mistakes on the survey map, possibly 3. So before anything's done, I would like to have that looked at.
And when you refer to mistakes on the survey map, that's the one you mentioned of 2020?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Well, it
And that, yeah.
might be 2021, January of
That's the
2021.
one right there that she's on.
But the most recent one you mean?
Yes, the most
All right,
recent
Thank
one.
you, ma'am.
Any other questions?
Did
Thank
the
you.
other gentleman want to speak?
No,
If she wants to.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mhm.
Commissioners, my name is David Lee. I live at 502 Pocket Farm Road. This road in question that, and I've talked to several of the neighbors out there, is actually a oyster shell road. Oyster shell has not been used in over 50 years that anybody can tell me. This road does run the length of the property that I bought. The fence in question that Ms. Albright has is built 24 feet inside county property. Okay, so it should be a 30-foot wide easement on her and a 30-foot wide easement on me if this road was going to be used by the county, maintained by the county, and cut through all the way to 188 and wherever else it would go. As this road has become a problem, an issue, is that there is a second entrance on Miss Albright's property on the paved road on Pocket Farm. I know this because the man that leases her property, runs the cattle, was on there the other day rounding up his calves, and they pulled all their trucks and their four-wheelers in on that property. And I went down and spoke with them and helped them run the cattle up in the pens on the outside of the road so the cows wouldn't turn. I bought this property to move down here. I bought a company when I moved down here, before I moved down here, actually. And what I would like is to have peace of mind that somebody doesn't just drive on, whether it's their property, my property, a joint property, just drive on. They have surprised me a couple of times just by being on the property and me not knowing. The other problem is I run cattle and I've got horses on this property, and I want the gate shut. I want it maintained. I want it kept shut. Don't want anybody making any mistakes there. I would like this road abandoned in the fact that I could go ahead and run my fence on my property line with the survey. Now, I've spoke with Griffin Brundit survey company that did the survey, and he says there is an issue with the survey, but he believes it comes from her side, as the fence, when it was put up 8-10 years ago, whatever it was when she built her fence, actually walks onto the road and actually funnels down that way. I would very much like to see her surveys. I'd like to work with her and figure out what we can do about this to get some kind of equitable agreement on this property. I didn't buy it knowing that it was a shared easement road. That was not disclosed to me. And coming under the bona fide purchaser, that would, I'd have to go back after the people I bought it from because it didn't come into play. When I bought it, it was supposed to be fence line to fence line. In this, I'm requesting that this road be abandoned because she does have other entrances to her property beside mine. Yeah, it's on.
Any questions from him? Oh, okay, thank you, sir.
This time, can we hand her a mic? Not make her walk up there. The purple one's, the purple one is, there you go.
Mr. Lee stated, that I have another access to my property. I do not. It's a different property owner. I do not own that property. So I would not be able to access that property to do whatever I need to do. As he stated, the other property owner and myself have the same, have it leased to the same person. So yes, he can go in at a different place to do the tax, but I cannot access that other property. It is not mine. I do not own it. And, the gate, out on, the road is purchased by me too, and it has nothing to do with the road. But I would just like for you to know that I have no other access to my property. I have fenced it all the way around my property, and the only access is on that, chapter 3 or what.
All right, any other discussion?
Well, okay. The gate that leads on that, and I didn't know the other property was not owned by her. That all seems to run together under the same fence. Well, no, I mean, there's gates through it.
All right,
Gates through it.
please. One at a
So
time.
that's how her leasers that run their cattle were in there getting all their cattle with their machines. The gate that is on the fence that was built, as from my understanding, when I bought the property from the Amison brothers, was actually put up by them. It's hanging off the left post, which actually swings into my property. It swings completely on 100% into my property. And they told me that the gate that they replaced was an old wood lift gate. You picked it up, you slid it to the side, and you went down the road. They said that they actually cleared this road. This road was grown up just like the road behind it off my property was grown up. You couldn't even see the fence. So everything that, and I will go back to the people I purchased it from and get some information from them as to what they did and how they did it. But I know they built the fence on the left side of my property closer to Copano Bay. And they said they built the fence on the front and put that gate up. I don't know that she bought it. Leona, do you have a receipt?
Well, the gate was, there's always been a gate there. I mean, this is my 16th year being a commissioner, and there's always been in fact, I stopped one time and talked to a man going in and out of the gate that had cattle there a number of years ago.
That was Danny, yeah.
But there's always been a gate. They might have replaced it with a newer gate or something, but there's always been a gate there.
Okay.
But it was like a pasture gate, you know.
Yeah, it's pick up lift
The
gate.
public has never.
There before, when they took it down, they just put a newer one up.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the public, I don't know when's the last time the public ever used it. It's been many, many years ago. And
I'm sorry, I didn't.
I said, I'm not sure. I would venture to guess that it's been years and years that the public ever used it, if they've ever used it.
Yeah,
So.
they have used it. I don't remember the year
Yeah.
that, the gate was put up there, but the public used to travel down that road. When I was out there, they traveled down that road that was completely open. They went for fishing and everything through that road.
If I may say something on this, the issue that I see here, I understand both sides, I really do. But if we close that right away or easement, whichever it is, that creates a flag lot back there. And I have 3 of those in my precinct that whenever they bought them, they said they were going to transfer over and never did. So I'm having a problem thinking that we would even consider abandoning somebody's ability to get to a roadway. I understand there's not another way to get into that property other than that county road. Is that correct?
No, both properties front on a county road.
Oh.
would have to put it, they would have to put a gate in off of that road to access it and do some type of road improvement possibly.
Okay. So we're
But
not
it
talking
wouldn't-
about we're not talking about a flag lot issue here.
No, both properties run from Pocket Farm Road approximately 2,600 feet back.
Well, if this was ever subdivided, that would have to be part of the subdivision plat to request another right of way, right?
Sure. Right, yeah, if somebody was to subdivide it.
Okay, well, I misunderstood because I didn't know that the property that is in the middle of that had a public access, and I know the court's position has always been, since I've been on there 13 years now, it's always been that we did not isolate properties. So that was my only concern.
This would not actually isolate a property, as she has a half mile of paved road frontage right there that she could put access to her property. The only access I have is that gate, other than they put in a gate just down from me that I'm now using. And I've had to rock a road into that one. But I would like to put a fence on my property line to understand my property line when I paid the money to buy this 80 acres, which actually turned out to be 77.319 by survey. So I'm looking to actually get this done so I can put my fence on. It's my property, it's our home, and I would love to be able to just know what my property truly is.
Well, if it wasn't clear before why this is only a discussion item and not an action item for today, I think we just made that clear to everybody. We concern ourselves with public access. There's also issues between private property owners adjoining each other. We need to sort out what the county's position is and where the
right.
public's
We need
affected. We're going to need
David
legal
that's why-
counsel and
That's why I put it on here today.
Exactly.
It's like, say, I think we're down to two things. Either Miss Albrecht puts her fence on that property line, or we abandon it, I think, to me, that's our two choices. There might be another one there somewhere, but
Well, let's look further
we-
into this.
we
and-
can't sort
and
that out
put it
today.
On as action item on the next meeting. All right, thank you, sir. Another preliminary discussion regarding the request to abandon road and alleyway right-of-ways within the 1016 West 6th Street, Lamar Town Site, blocks 14 and 15, and a portion of the right-of-way between blocks 15 and 16. Kat, can you give us some?
Yes, sir. Hopefully this one will be a lot less of a shorter discussion, but this property is in West Lamar. The right-of-way that are being requested to be abandoned would not block any access. It is not any of the right-of-ways that are being requested. None of them have been improved or utilized. The right-of-ways are what was shown in the 1929 Percival map of Lamar. And so, but what Mr. Lott, the owner, Tim Lott, wishes to build a single-family home out here in order to be in compliance with TCEQ when he does his septic design. He is going to be replatting and combining these lots, and he would like to request to abandon the right-of-ways between them so that he can make it one contiguous lot for that purpose.
Mr. Laubach, do you have anything to add?
No, I just want to say, so this one doesn't, as I understand it, this does not create either road access or beach access issues. And Mr. Murphy's here. I just wanted you to confirm that's not, okay, so we don't have a controversy over this one.
and
This is
there's
just
not any
interior
utility-
paper roads.
There's not any utilities on the alleyway that you're talking about, or either one of them?
No, sir.
What is the size of this new lot once it's created, if it is?
This is a pretty big one, isn't it, Kat?
It is. It altogether is technically 2 full blocks and a single lot out of block 16. And the total acreage, I apologize, one second.
About 7, Kat?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
So much bigger than any septic issue.
Correct. Yeah, it's mainly so that it can be, he'll have options about where the footprint of the home could be, and if there's no intention of the county ever going in and adopting and maintaining and improving these roads, then he would like to go ahead and have it developed in a way that's conducive for a single-family home with a workshop.
So
it will have,
Kat, as these
Rob,
things
I
are,
apologize.
Kat, as this is presented, he owns everything within the yellow line?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's one, is he going to plat that into one piece of property? Because it looks like it's lots right now.
Yes, sir.
It's old Lamar Township lots, Jack, but they're like 19th century imaginary lots.
Oh, okay, okay.
But what he's
So-
asking, are they planning on replatting the whole block into one piece of property or leaving it lots like it is?
The plan is to replat,
Okay.
Okay.
but they
People at home may not have been able to hear, but the answer is it's all to be replatted as one big 7-acre lot.
so
Well, I
you'll be
would-
using 7 acres for a 2-unit duplex? No?
Yeah.
No, a single-family home with a
One
detached
home.
garage.
One home.
But I believe Mr.
Okay,
Lott-
because it says the request to abandon this is the owner is in the process of converting the existing single-family structure into a 2-unit duplex. So that
That's
information
an
is
oversight
incorrect.
on my end. I apologize. That was from the replat for 430 Copano Ridge Road. That is not this. I apologize for that oversight. But this would not be for a duplex.
Just a plain old single family home. Got it.
Yes, ma'am.
And Kat, do you plan on doing the replat and the abandonment at the same time?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But I wanted to have the Commissioners Court notified and have any possible concerns brought up now. That way, when he is ready to replat it, we could do the order and the replat at the same meeting, just having the order go first, the order to abandon first.
Well, Kat, I think we probably need to table the abandonment of the right of way until we have the plat back on the agenda to approve and to do that all at one time. I think that's right, but to do it now
Yeah,
without
and this is only a preliminary discussion item, so the order has not been drawn up to do the actual abandonment, but we're trying to extend the amount of public notice time, and that way, if there are concerns brought up, we have a little bit more time to address them. And so this isn't the order to abandon. This is not an action item. This is a preliminary discussion.
Okay.
All right, any further discussion?
Just thank you for clarifying that you're just putting in one home.
All right, moving on. Item 17, we do have an action item. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the final plat of, let's see, what number is that?
17.
17.
Let's see, I move to approve the final plat of Fulton Beach Landings, Unit 1 at 2261 North Fulton Beach Road from Let's Go to the Islands Incorporated.
I second that motion.
Motion made and second, Commissioner Cheney. Discussion?
I have a couple of questions.
Mr. Etheridge is here if you want to talk to the developer. Come on up. Come on up.
Well, if one of you would like to come to the microphone or both so that someone can address the questions, thank you. I notice under the utilities, it says that the landings will have public water, sewer, and gas through the city of Rockport, and that the city staff have approved the utility extensions, and the county staff have reviewed and approved the drainage plan. I'm just curious, who will be paying for those utility extensions?
The developer.
Okay. And the other thing, and I did check with the Director of Environmental Health Services to see if a tree permit or survey had been done, and she could not find one.
Were there any, the area that you're actually asking to be replatted, did it even have any trees on it? No, there are trees on the edge.
It's just trees on the front and a few trees.
That's a different
trees.
A different lot.
There hasn't really been that many trees on that property for the last 80 years.
Right, but I see trees on it, and I'm just curious.
I think they're not in the
But there's a
platted part.
I mean, the trees that you have on there are trees that you plan to plat. It looked to me like plan to plant.
No.
There's a
On your
belt of
drawing, you
trees.
show a lot of palm trees and things, or that's ones that you anticipate planting.
But there's also a belt of trees on 35, but that's not in your platted lot. That's in a separate future. There's lots A and B on the border of the area that you're asking to be replatted. The area on one side has no trees and the area on the other has trees, but it's not the part you're actually asking to plat.
There are, no, that is correct. There are a few trees on the, I actually had a tree study done years ago.
Right.
But I'm not sure your specific question though.
The tree ordinance kicks in if you're developing a piece of property that has at least one tree of a certain size. And I guess the question is it triggered in this case? Jen, you can tell us. I think the area he's trying to replat and develop as a subdivision does not, to my knowledge, didn't have any trees on it. If it does, they're all very small.
Is this in the unincorporated part of the county?
Yes.
Then it would be triggered if there are live oaks in the area that you're asking to replat. So you would want to visit with Valerie to go through that process. Of course, that would have to be done before a building permit would be issued, but it doesn't necessarily need to be done before you consider approval today of the final plat.
And if I may, this is Kat over the speaker. I just wanted to state that when this concept plan was originally brought to the Commissioners Court in October of 2020, that was when we did look to see if there were going to be trees in the area being replatted that would qualify for that, hit that threshold. And I apologize for not providing that information, but we did not find any that would require going through the tree survey process at that time. So I apologize for not making that information available, but that was part of what we reviewed for the concept plan.
Now, over the weekend, a number of people have brought up issues to me, and the ones that I wanted to flag in case the people who brought them up aren't here on Zoom or in person. One in particular was the turning radius on the cul-de-sac and whether everybody is confident that an emergency truck, fire truck, ambulance will have enough room to turn around. Kat, do you guys have standards for how big the turning radius has to be in a cul-de-sac in a subdivision?
Yes, ma'am, and that has been met. And in fact, the developer did end up having to take out a couple of lots that were part of the original concept plan, and it did allow for some movement to make sure everything would, but yes, the turning radius does meet the county standards.
So as I recall it back in October 2020, there were going to be 51 units. They've shaved it down now to 41 units. The part of that was to make room for things like turning radius. Sound right? I mean, you may have had other reasons for shrinking. You just couldn't fit them in.
But it always met the city, the county standards for turning radius for fire truck.
What is the turning radius right now?
It requires the cul-de-sac to be 50-foot radius, and that's like every subdivision that goes in the city of Rockport or the
and
county.
This on your plat, this cul-de-sac is 50 foot?
The radius is a 50-foot.
Okay.
At the property line.
The other question I got was there was a mention of variances that needed to be granted, and I would just like those sort of listed and explained, if you wouldn't mind doing that, Kat.
I can do that. And actually,
the agenda packet referred to a development agreement that explained them, but it's not part of the packet. So we just need to make part of the record. What is it that you're varying and how come?
And again, that's one of those, I apologize for not having that included. That was part of what was approved at the time of the concept plan. But instead of the variances, since this is a planned unit development, the developer has entered into a development agreement with the county that states that they're doing the denser development with the understanding that all of the life safety requirements are being met. And so by extending the city utilities, they're able to provide the sewer and water services for that number of homes, and they are also pulling all of the requisite building permits through the city of Rockport in order to make sure that that all of the homes are built to at least the International Residency Code standards. And so the development agreement is not a variance, but it is a certification that what will be developed is not only sellable but safe. And everything within that development agreement meets our subdivision order.
I'm not completely familiar with how planned unit developments work, but I think what you're describing is sort of in an alternative way to meet county code. And that's what I think was confusing a lot of people over the weekend. Could you just walk us through, is there anything about this development that would raise red flags if it were not a planned unit development? And if so, what about the PUD resolved any of those concerns? Or were there any?
If it was not a planned unit development, it would require a variance. If, say, there was only a few lots that were going to be this size, we would require a variance, and we would require that they show that they meet the utility requirements in order to be safe before granting that variance. But in Texas, counties have very, very limited authority with regard to density and land use outside of life safety requirements. And so our process, we handle that through variances and planned unit developments. But as long as the developer meets all the statutory requirements to make the development safe, there's not a lot that a county has the authority to restrict on. And so this is a type of development that is, since it is being done well and meeting all those safety requirements, there's nothing within it that would cause any. The only issue would be.
It sounds like you're describing lot size concerns, other than the minimum lot size. Were there any other triggers?
No, ma'am. I mean, it does have smaller building setbacks, which is kind of a part of doing a smaller lot size and a denser development. But aside from that, it is actually a better, because of the utility extensions and because it is not going to be relying on septic systems and well water, it is actually one of the more environmentally friendly developments that we have out in the county.
Does anybody on Zoom have questions? And no one in the courtroom?
Now this is, I've been following this from the beginning, and Mr. Etheridge has done a good job on that, and he's responded to every inquiry that we've had. So I would recommend that we pass it.
The motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castro.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo.
Aye.
Commissioner Lava.
Aye.
Judge Miller.
Aye, unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 18. A motion.
I move to approve allowing Aransas County Road and Bridge staff to submit a grant application to request funding for updating Aransas County's Hazard Mitigation Action Plan to the Texas Department of Emergency Management Hazard Mitigation Grant Program.
I'll second that.
Motion made and seconded. Commissioner Cheney, any discussion?
I just am curious, who will administer this grant if it's approved?
This grant would be handled solely internally, and the primary purpose for applying for this grant is to enable us to apply for the to go through the full bid process of applying to the GLO's planning grant application. But you have to apply to the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Program first, and so the full scope of any county costs would be addressed in the GLO grant application, and the primary goal is to be able to secure that so that the grant administrator will be a firm, and that we will be able to have a outside third-party assistance in getting the plan updated.
So we'll be
this
hiring
one,
a grant
yeah.
administrator. Is
Yes,
that what you're
ma'am.
saying, Kat?
Yes, ma'am. With this grant, if the GLO grant, then we will be coming back to the Commissioner's Court in order to request approval on a grant administrator once we have secured that funding.
And that cost will be out of the grant, right?
Yes, sir. That is the plan. That by applying both for the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Action, or for the planning grant through FEMA and through the GLO's program, that the cost share would be covered by the state and federal together.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney.
Aye.
Commissioner Castro.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo.
Opposed?
Commissioner Lava.
Aye.
Judge Miller.
Aye. 4 for, 1 against. Item 19, Make a motion to approve resolution 01-2022, a joint resolution for a joint primary election to be held March 1st, 2022, and a joint primary runoff election, if necessary, on May 24th, 2022.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Casterline. Mr. Show.
So just since it was originally approved back in November of last year, it was discovered that it has to be done in full commissioner's court, and the judge was absent from that meeting. So we're just coming back to seek approval for the joint resolution again.
All right. Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lava,
Aye.
Judge Miller.
Aye, unanimous.
Thank you.
Item 20, I have a motion.
Which one should we?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I've been requested by Mr. Gear to table this until the next meeting, or
I move to table item 20
and
Second.
21.
and 21.
And 21. Okay.
Motion
I'll
made.
second 21.
Motion made and seconded, Commissioner Cheney. Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Opposed?
Commissioner Lava,
Aye.
Judge Miller.
Aye, unanimous. 4, 1 against. Item 22,
Move to approve authorizing county judge to sign the Texas Department of Energy Management grant terms and conditions necessary to receive funding from TDM for the public assistance for ER 4586 winter storm of February 2021 to help cover the county's cost associated with the storm.
I'll second
motion made.
that.
Do I have a second, Commissioner Cheney? Discussion. We do have some things that cost us some money. For instance, EDCOT charge passed through to our Mid-America provider about $68,000 worth of charges that we would like to get some kind of reimbursement, and some other things that Jackie can talk to you about. That one's the one that stands out the most for me.
Yes, this grant is from Freedom. It's a 75-25. We do have some porta potty reimbursement that we've requested, as well as the LAPC passed on some overcharges for the code red, the amount of about $23,000. And then, as the judge said, our ERCOT charges, Cheatham is looking at reimbursing us, like I said, at the 75-25. This is just the application that we're requesting the judge to sign now. Everything else has been turned into Cheatham already.
So basically, this grant is just going to ask for the 75%, which you cite as being about $89,400
Yes.
to be reimbursed us, and then we're coming up with the other 25%, or we've already actually paid it.
We've already
Yeah.
paid it.
Yes.
And so this would be reimbursing us
Yes,
for that.
ma'am.
Right.
And there is nothing else that we're committing to in this grant.
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Just one issue in our effort to keep away from acronyms. Could, just for the record, you say what TDM is and what your other acronym was?
It's stated in the motion.
Cheatham is the Texas Department of Emergency Management.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure what other acronym I used. ERCOT, it's
Oh, ERCOT.
electric,
This,
whatever.
the
I don't know
states.
what-
Electric Reliability Council of Texas.
Okay, I just,
but-
in my ongoing battle to get away from acronyms and public record, thank you very much.
Right, and the LAPC was the other one I used, and that's the Local Emergency Planning
Planning
Commission.
Committee.
Commission. Mhm. Okay, thank you.
All right, motion made and seconded. Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Casterline,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lava,
Aye.
Judge Miller.
Aye, unanimous. Item 23,
I move to approve terminating the interlocal cooperation contract for mobile election certification certificate, EIC operations with the Texas Department of Public Safety, and authorizing the county judge to send the termination letter.
Motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Laubach.
Kevin, I read your staff memo. I'm still not quite sure. I understand that this is a program that we're not using and it seems like it's a needless waste of money, but tell me what it is. Just, is it, it was a way to drive out to people and certify them give them an ID, or what was it?
It wasn't necessarily maintenance for us to drive out, but then for them to come to our office, because we do not have a driver's license office here in Aransas County. But as I did mention in the memo, to my knowledge, we've never issued one. Very few people have been qualified to receive one. They are photo IDs that are issued by the Texas Department of Public Safety for election purposes only. So it's those people who do not have a driver's license, who do not have a passport, who do not have a military ID, people that don't have any of the other supplemental forms of photo identification for voting can apply and get one of these documents.
So they could have come to your office and had a picture taken and made and got one, but nobody ever did.
Correct.
And if they don't now, where can they go instead?
They can
Next county?
They can go to the next, I believe in Aransas Pass, there is an office where they can get one. They can go to any DPS driver's license office and get one.
Okay.
And what does it cost us? What did it cost us while we have?
Really, there's not any cost associated with it. However, there is equipment associated with it, and maintaining and keeping track of that equipment could potentially cost the county money. I will mention, of the equipment, we have misplaced a printer. So there is already going to be associated costs with returning it. We're going to have to reimburse the state for it.
Can you put some dollar values on the printer and also the stuff that we might have to maintain? I mean, we're talking about saving a few $100s a year or a lot?
There's no monthly maintenance for it. It's just staff time.
So can you put a dollar figure on that?
I really can't. And the printer, I'm guessing it's going to be about $500. I really don't know.
But if you've never issued one, you haven't had any cost other than the cost of the equipment.
Right.
If I may, Kevin and I visited about this, and the main concern was if additional equipment does become misplaced, there would be a potential liability for the county to reimburse for that equipment. So now that we've seen one printer come up missing, it seems like a good time to maybe reduce our possible liability to pay for additional equipment. And also, I think Colin may be able to work with us on the missing printer to take care of that at a lower cost.
So how long has this been available to the public and not used?
The grant was originally approved in 2014, but it doesn't look like we received the equipment until 2015.
But for 6 years, 5 years, nobody's wanted it.
And I thank you for bringing this to the court's attention and looking to relieve us of one more liability.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you.
But did we ever publicize that it was there? For
Yes.
people to get it or anything, or?
I'm not sure historically the county did that, but I know it is publicized on the state's website for issuing these types of certificates.
And it's this must be obvious, but presumably the state allows us to do this, but doesn't require that we do it.
Correct. That's why there's an out of the contract.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Tate,
Aye.
Mr. Castro,
Aye.
Mr. Russo,
Aye.
Mr. Law.
Aye.
Aye, unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 25
I move to approve resolution R02
or 24.
2022, selecting and awarding the bid for the Rockport Center of the Arts Parking and Public Facilities Improvement Project to Marshall Company Limited in the bid amount of $636,723.57, with the project being funding by the Hurricane Harvey related disaster recovery and mitigation grant through the Texas General Land Office contract number 2006598 C270, and authorizing the county judge to execute next necessary documents.
Motion made. Do I have a second?
I'll second. I just want to say, I think you said
Commissioner
item
Laubach.
25, but we meant 24. Anyway, just for the record, it's 24.
Yeah, 24 is the item number.
Yes, I'm sorry.
John, I just was curious, what was the number of bids that we received or responses?
3.
3? And I noticed in the description of the background that it says building the parking lot and providing 60 parking spaces and overhead lighting, which will be landscaped and then have irrigation. I think it's a great idea. I just would like to put in a request if we could ask the builder if they could look at dark sky overhead lighting features.
That is what it's going to be.
Terrific. Thank you. Thank you for doing that.
And remind me, this one's a fully grant funded or are we
Fully
out of
grant
pocket?
funded project.
Any further discussion?
And you feel good with the bidder that you're recommending?
Yes, yes.
Sure.
He and the engineering firm Hanson reviewed them and gave us a recommendation.
Okay.
Roll call.
Commissioner Tate.
Aye.
Commissioner Castro.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo.
Aye.
Commissioner Lava.
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye, unanimous. Now, item 25.
I move to approve December 2021 indigent healthcare report.
I second that.
Motion made and second, Commissioner Russo. Any discussion?
Are you here? No. She's online. I was just curious on the hospital inpatient services.
Right.
What was the number of hospitalized patients for the month?
Okay, we had, let me look here. 11 X-ray on wheel, oh no. That was one hospital visit.
One hospital?
An healthcare client, not an inmate.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Tate.
Aye.
Commissioner Castro.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo.
Aye.
Commissioner Lava.
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye, unanimous. 26.
I move to approve the budget line item transfers and amendments.
I'll second that.
Second, Commissioner Cheney.
Are there any?
We have none at this time.
Roll call.
Commissioner Tate.
Aye.
Commissioner Castro.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo.
Aye.
Commissioner Lava.
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye, unanimous. Item 27.
I move to approve accounts payable and payroll liability.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and second, Commissioner Russo.
Anything out of the ordinary?
There's nothing out of the ordinary with this.
Roll call.
Commissioner Tate.
Aye.
Commissioner Castro.
Aye.
Commissioner Russo.
Aye.
Commissioner Lava.
Aye.
Judge Mills.
Aye, unanimous. Well, is there any elected official or department head that'd like to bring up anything to, okay, come on up, Laurie.
Good morning. I'm Lori Caesar, Director for Aransas County Animal Control. I just wanted to thank the community for their generous donations during our food drive. We brought in about 1,400 pounds of food and lots of blankets and toys for enrichment for the dogs that are staying there. Our stay time's a little bit longer right now. Everyone is facing the same thing, turnovers. So just want to let everybody know that we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'd like to make a comment on the deal that Mr. Himes brought up at the first of the meeting.
Yes.
The property that he talks about, the Sherwin property, was originally owned by Alcoa. When Sherwin went into bankruptcy, it automatically went to Alcoa, because when you're involved in something like that, you never get out of the liability. They have a program with TCEQ to remediate the property. Part of the remediation that we have been involved in is all of the trees that were ground up by our cleanup people. They let us take, and then they use that material to scatter out over the top of some of those dikes because it's my understanding the stuff that's in there is kind of inert and nothing will grow on it. And there's historically a red dust problem, but nothing will grow until something organic gets on top of it. So they did that for us and surrounding areas doing their Dawson, and there are other people that grind brush and stuff that they have ongoing deals where they take it there and for little or no charge, put the stuff there to build up the property. But they supposedly have a plan with TCEQ, I plan on calling and see if I can get something to do with that. My preliminary looks is that there's not the mercury in there that Mr. Himes claims to be.
TCEQ says there's not, but.
And that the mercury that's in Lavaca Bay actually came from a different plant that was in the same area. And I think that's documented. So that's what I know so far about it.
All right, anyone?
I had something I just wanted to mention that I've been working with the auditor and with the treasurer. We're going to come up with suggested criteria for the agencies who receive funding from the court, such as the Center for the Arts, Maritime Museum, Cultural Arts District, and other entities, so that there is some sort of standardization in the reports that are given on a quarterly or less often basis. And that way we will all be looking at the same information with respect to the different organizations. So thank you for those two officers for working with me.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm finally out of the hospital from December the 20th and one day out and back in, and I'm doing good. I would be there today, but I can't step up any steps for about a week. So everything's doing good. And I sure appreciate all the kind thoughts that y'all have had and everything. And I really do. And I'm really very appreciative for Zoom, because that allows any of us to go to meetings whenever we physically can't be there. And I appreciate that very much. And thanks to the IT department for doing that. But glad to be back.
Feel better, Jack.
Thank you.
I do.
Glad to have you back in Rockport.
I never felt bad. It's just I couldn't walk because I had this massive gash in my leg.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Ungash.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else? If not, do I have a motion made?
Second that motion.
Second. Roll call.
Commissioner Cheney,
Aye.
Commissioner Castleman,
Aye.
Commissioner Russo,
Aye.
Commissioner Lava.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Thank you. Have a good day.